Look, I've been running a executive and business coaching business for the last 15 years. So we work with a whole range of business owners and senior managers through to CEOs of public companies. And so, because I'm working with a whole range of different clients and helping them move their business and their life forward, each of those in its own right is a project, let alone each of them has multiple projects that they're working on. I also sit on a number of boards as a non-executive director and chairman. So that allows me to have one foot inside of those companies rather than just 2 feet on the outside. And thirdly, I'm a writer. I've been working on a couple of books over the last 5 years. I've got one that's about to go to print, and another one that I published an article last year we're going to develop into a book this year too.
Congratulations. What's the name of the book, the title of the book?
The first one's called Visioning. It's about the process of actually creating a vision. And the second one is about adapting to change.
Right.
So that's leadership, governance, management, new and more effective ways to approach change both personally and professionally. Yeah.
Because the traditional way of approaching change is like, no. I understand, right?
As a rule, we don't have a great success rate with change. I think, maybe 20% of the time we get it right. I was just over at Harvard recently doing some training there, and these guys have done a lot of work around the idea of adaptive leadership. And because I've been writing about adapting, I wanted to see how our two ideas fit together. And they talk about the difference between a technical challenge and an adaptive challenge. So when somebody comes into hospital and they're having a heart attack, it's one thing to put the stent in and to get the heart to get blood back through it, and that's kind of the technical challenge, and the doctor can help you with that. But the next day, everybody around the world gets the same speech. You need to eat better, exercise, drink less, stop smoking, manage your stress, get more sleep, etc. And that's the adaptive challenge, And even when people almost die, the compliance rate, they call it, the rate at which people actually then modify their lifestyle and their behavior is about 20%.
Yes.
Yeah. We've been at work on developing some ideas around this, and I really think about adapting to change. So change plus change doesn't equal change, but change plus adapting equals success.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Glenn, you use Nozbe for quite a while now. You've been using Nozbe. So tell me how Nozbe helps you with your coaching program, with helping your clients, and how does it fit into your business?
Yeah, great. I think it's about two and a half to 3 years we've been using Nozbe. So I love it. It's one of my most favorite things on the computer as well as on my mobile devices. Before that, I was using OmniFocus, and it was back in the days where task management was kind of a solo affair. And if you wanted your tasks to mix with other people, you needed to sit down and have a meeting with them. So once we implemented Nozbe, and I looked at a range of others, like I tried Asana, I tried Basecamp, and one of the things that we do is we kind of have to help business owners and CEOs reclaim a day a week in their schedule. Because if they're going to work on more strategic things, then they can only spend 80% of their time on controlling the operations of the business. So this subject of productivity and high performance has been close to my heart since I started this kind of work. And my approach kind of integrates Julie Morgenstern through to David Allen, through to some of the Covey stuff. So I keep taking best of breed ideas from different people and mushing them together to create my recipe, and then share different principles from that with a range of our clients to help them, get a breakthrough in their level of performance. So, about 2.5, 3 years into Nozbe, I think what's great about it is that it's cut down our internal email considerably. And I love the way we can have that dialogue and put the project resources right there in Nozbe. When I change a project or a task to my assistant, to one of my co-workers, it's like a game of tennis. It pops up on their screen in the comments. They do something, and then they send it back to me, and it's a beautiful thing, Michael.
Thank you. I just posted on our Nozbe blog how I work with my assistant in Nozbe, and
Yeah.
It's exactly a game of tennis, and yeah, it's an effective game of tennis if you can just keep playing the tennis.
Yeah.
And is there any particular feature in Nozbe that you like, something that really stands out, or something that you use, or something that maybe you think others don't see, but you see and you think it's something that you would, I don't know, recommend, or something that something.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I'm involved in a whole range of different businesses. What I found was if I just put all my projects into the project list, it could become a bit of an overwhelming list. So I take a different approach in the way that I use the project section, and I kind of have this what I call the core information architecture.
Uh huh.
It's nine different categories of stuff that we need to do and manage and information we need to process in our business. Um, and so I have, one for clients, one for the team, one for marketing, one for sales, one for finances, one for products, one for suppliers. And so we use that kind of architecture in a color coded way for the project section. And I wrote a blog post about this recently, and we've been talking to your team at Productive Magazine about repurposing that article as something that could be used in the magazine itself. So that allows me to open Nozbe and see in my project list a maximum of about 10 projects, and then 10 categories or roles that different hats I have to wear in a small business. And so then when I go into client, I can see a whole range of different actions that I or other people in my team need to take or are at work on with respect to clients or marketing or finances.
That's interesting. So you don't use projects as projects per se, but you use projects as like your workspaces, or your work, like yeah, your roles, as you said, your roles.
Yeah, I think like in David Allen's language, it would probably be the 20,000 foot view where you
Yep.
go runway, projects, and then roles. So
Yeah.
I kind of use that section as my roles, and then I put projects and tasks within each of those roles. Now I try and keep the runway stuff in Nozbe, and we keep projects we're incubating and our someday maybe stuff. We do all of that in Evernote. And then when we're ready to bring things online, that's when we move them into Nozbe and start working on them.
So you also use Evernote and Nozbe.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think one of the things I found really useful is we put all of our policies and procedures into Evernote, into a shared folder with the team. And so if I want somebody to do something, I can create a task or a project. I can link it to that Evernote process. So if they haven't done it before, then they can see directly the process or the procedure that we've documented and got in Evernote, and it links it to them nice and easily there.
Right. I mean, this is really interesting. Yeah, because I mean, this is actually how I envisioned working with Nozbe and Evernote. That
Yeah,
Evernote is like your repository of documents and this reference material that David Allen is talking about, and
exactly.
then Nozbe is for tasks.
Yeah.
So this way, when you link these together, you have the powerful system. But if you try to make Nozbe too much of a document repository, it doesn't work so well. If you try to use Evernote as a task manager, it doesn't work so well. That's why I think these two together. So perfect use case there.
Yeah, look, I remember in the early days of David Allen, he did a presentation with the guys from Mind Manager. And the guy at Mind Manager kind of introduced David, and one of the things that really struck me about what he said is he said, there's two kinds of work, two kinds of thinking that we need to do. The first kind of work is a strategizing kind of work. It's a planning, it's a brainstorming. And then there's a second kind of work, which is a bit more linear. What do I do next? Yeah. So he said, Mind Manager is really good for doing that kind of thinking and planning and organizing. And then David Allen's methodology is really good at actually working out what's the next action for each project and how to move it forward. So I use that thinking to say, when I'm in Nozbe, I'm in a bit more of a linear kind of let's get things moving down the runway kind of approach. Whereas when I want to click into that other side of my brain and do that more creative strategizing work, I do that in Evernote. So just changing software helps me change hats and change gear a little bit.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's you're totally right. That's why we. I mean, it's a subtle thing, but we always say that Nozbe is simply get it all done, which
Yeah.
is we are focused on getting things done, not on
Yeah.
managing, and we focus on done, not on management. Management is important. It's part of getting to done, but done is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Glenn, thank you so much.